minutes, considering that it's beyond 5:30, it's 5:33 now. I'm going to call the meeting of Middleton Community Development Authority to order. And the first item is the roll call.
I have Barker, Barron, Furlong, Nelson, Olson, and Brar present. Weber is unable to attend. Is Oakes on the line? Okay, Kari is not here.
Kari. I think she would come. Okay. So the next item is the minutes from October 8th, 2020. Did you guys have time to read the minutes? I did.
I did.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Olson, I'd move approval.
Be excited to make. Okay, motion by Kathy. I need a second.
This is Katie. I'll second.
Approval.
Well, we need a second and few. Okay, second by Katie. Let's have a discussion. So, any changes or anything, any follow-ups or whatever? Okay, all those in motion to minutes from October 8, 2020 to say yes.
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 Aye.
All those in,
Yes.
or I, whatever works. Okay, so it looks
Aye.
like everybody's in favor. So motion is, the minutes are approved unanimously. Okay, now we are on to the agenda items, and Abby would like to say something about Wisconsin open meeting laws thing.
Yep.
Yes,
We
Abby.
only have a total of an hour for the meeting tonight because I have a 6:30, so I'll try to go through this quickly. But Dan Barker had asked that we provide an update or an informational piece on the Wisconsin open meetings law. And this is something that Mike Davis normally does every spring for volunteer committee members as part of the spring bus tour that we offer. And of course, because we weren't able to do the bus tour this year, we didn't have the opportunity to go over the volunteer handbook that includes the segment on open meetings. So I put something in your packet that's a really nice, just 5-page summary. I got that from one of the regional planning commissions, and I thought it provided a nice overview. And then also I was talking to Michelle Phillips, who's the editor of the Middleton Times Tribune, and she alerted me to this website that the Wisconsin Newspaper Association has. And it's intended for journalists who are generally requesting open records from communities. But it has a lot of good resources too. So if if you're interested in learning more, there are several links on this website that you can go to learn more about the open meetings law. In that 5-pager that I gave you in your packet, it's divided up into 5 separate sections. And the first one is the policy of the open meetings law. The open meetings law is really intended to require that all governmental bodies meetings be held publicly in places that are accessible to members of the public, open to all citizens at all times, unless otherwise expressly provided by law. Most violations in communities are due to mistakes. They're not because of any nefarious activity of local government committee members or staff members. It's more a matter of, not appropriately noticing something on an agenda. So let's say, for example, we put something on the agenda that says an update on, but then the body decides instead that they want to take action and allocate funding towards something. That would be an example of something that really wasn't appropriately noticed to the public that we were going to be spending money. Or it could be a situation where we're talking about a topic and the committee gets kind of carried away and sort of veers off to another topic that's not noticed on the agenda. And so that is a violation of the open meetings law, but it's not due to, any ill intent or anything like that. The open meetings law applies to every meeting of a governmental body. So all of the CDA meetings fall under this. And typically governmental bodies operate under a simple majority rule. So for example, if the CDA wants to take action on a proposal, they can pass it with 5 members voting in the affirmative out of 8. It's just a simple majority that's required. And so if you have 5 members discussing a topic outside of a meeting, that is enough members to take action and pass a proposal. And so that is a violation of the open meetings law. You can't have a majority of committee members discussing a topic outside of a meeting. And also there are some instances in the city where a supermajority is required. So one example of that would be on a rezoning request where we receive a valid protest petition from folks in the neighborhood who oppose a rezoning. That then requires 6 out of 8 city council members voting in the affirmative in order to pass the rezoning request. In those instances in particular, it's really, you have to be really careful about a negative quorum. A negative quorum is when there are enough members of a group that can block action on a proposal getting together. So if there are 3 city council members getting together to talk about how their constituents are concerned about a rezoning and they should maybe vote against it, that is a negative quorum, and that is also a violation of the open meetings law. And especially during a pandemic, it's important to note that a meeting is not limited to all of the members convening in one place. It could be a telephone call or a Zoom conference. A quorum violation can also occur in electronic means, such as email and instant messaging. And this maybe is the one that's the toughest for new committee members, because you know, you want to communicate efficiently to a group of people, but you as a committee member should not be emailing out a blanket email to all of the committee members, because that could constitute a violation of the open meetings law. The written communication transmitted by electronic means is really complex. It's better to just err on the side of caution and not do it. If there is something that a committee member wants to send out to the whole CDA, for example, there's an upcoming training on how to revitalize a downtown or something like that, it's better to send it to the staff member, and then the staff member can then disseminate it. And we always include a disclaimer at the bottom of the email: don't reply all, it could be a violation of the open meetings law. We also try to avoid sending anything out if it's something that is likely to generate a lot of comments. Instead, we'll just put it on the next agenda, discuss it in an open meeting. There are 2 basic requirements of the open meetings law. The first is advance public meeting notice, and this is really incumbent on the staff to make sure that we are properly noticing our agendas in 1 or more places that are likely to be seen by the general public. Our official notice board is the bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, but not that many people come into the lobby of City Hall to see the agendas. So we also publish them on our website, and we send them out via Notify Me. If there is a topic that is of particular interest to a lot of people, we will sometimes notify people who we know will be interested. We will also put it on social media to try to make sure that we're adequately providing notice to the public. Every public meeting notice has to include the time, date, place, and subject matter of the meeting. And they must be posted at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Unless good cause exists, then notice should be given as soon as possible and must be at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Almost in all cases, we follow the 24-hour law. I think I can think of one example in the last 13 years where we might not have had 24 hours notice, and that was when we discovered the issue at the library roof, where it was immediate public safety danger. And I think that in that case, we had an agenda that was published not 24 hours in advance. Of course, we always try to give more than 24 hours in advance, but we also have a lot of agendas, and we're always waiting on people to get us things to put onto agendas. But best practice would be at least a few days in advance to give people enough notice of a meeting. And then a governmental body, when conducting a meeting, is free to discuss any aspect of any subject identified in the notice as well as issues that are reasonably related but cannot discuss topics that are not reasonably related to the information in the notice. We also have to be really careful to make sure that the titles are clear and that they adequately identify what is likely to be discussed in the meeting. Another best practice that we try to follow is when we know that one topic is likely to appear on several agendas, we try to use the same kind of language to notice it so that somebody from the public who's following the Addy development, for example, can see that it's the Addy development, even when it's on a finance committee agenda with, you know, kind of a different spin on the topic. But it's good, we try to copy and paste the topic if it's been on one agenda so that we have kind of the same format, and so that somebody who's following that topic can see it as it moves through the city process. The other basic requirement of open meetings is that business must be conducted in open session. In general, the city should be holding meetings in public places rather than private premises. Private premises include things like restaurants that are generally open to the public, but not everyone would necessarily feel comfortable going to those places. And so it's best practice to hold meetings in government buildings where people feel comfortable attending. And the law also requires that the meeting must be accessible to people with disabilities. And we have a disclaimer or a notice at the bottom of our agendas to contact the city administrator if special accommodations are needed. When Mike gets those calls, he makes sure that whatever those accommodations are that are needed to attend a meeting, that we are able to meet those. And then also, the open meetings law grants citizens the right to attend and observe meetings. Citizens are also able to tape meetings, film them, photograph them. And then, although not required, the open meetings law does permit government bodies to set aside a portion of the agenda as a public comment period. So that happens at every city council meeting, where we have 3 minutes at the beginning of the agenda for anybody to speak on any topic that is not noticed on the agenda. And then it is also best practice for the city council to not get into a lengthy discussion about anything that is brought up during that session, and especially not to take action unless to refer it out to a committee for another discussion at a meeting that has proper notice. And then also it's best practice to only hold those kinds of periods, public input periods, when they are officially noticed on the agenda. The reason for that is, let's say I want to speak on a topic, but I look at the agenda and I don't see a public comment period. I don't attend the meeting. And then I find out that 20 of my neighbors were able to speak, and that is not proper notice that a public comment period is going to happen at a meeting. I'm going to skip over section 4. It's related to closed session requirements. There is a possibility that the CDA at some point in the future would hold closed sessions, likely if it were for purposes of negotiation or acquiring property, or if there's any litigation that the CDA is likely to become involved with. But it probably would most likely be for redevelopment activities. In the past, the CDA played the role of the redevelopment agency, where the CDA would actually go out and compile and purchase blighted properties for redevelopment. If the CDA becomes involved in that, again, we'll be sure that you get briefed and you understand the closed session meeting requirements before that would happen. And then open meetings, law enforcement, and penalties. The Attorney General and district attorneys have the authority to enforce the open meetings law. There are penalties associated with violations. Any member of a governmental body who knowingly violates the open meetings law is subject to a fine of $25 to $300, and the city of Middleton is not able to reimburse those fines. And in addition to the forfeiture, the Wisconsin statute provides that a court may void any action that is taken in a meeting that is held in violation of the open meetings law. So that is all I had to share, but feel free to ask any questions that you might have. And Mike is on the line, and Mike is an attorney, so he can probably answer them better than I can. So anyway, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. It looks like Dan Barker has his hand raised.
Thanks, Abby. And I can appreciate
Okay. Go ahead. Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Thank you. I was just going to say we'd be at a little bit of a disadvantage because Mike only has training in Indiana law. Aside from that, thank you. Anyway, thanks for taking the time. It cleared up a lot of things, and I appreciate it. The city of Middleton has done a great job since day one, and as a citizen, I appreciate your transparency and what you and Mike do to make sure things are known. Thanks.
Kieran Furlong has his hand raised.
Yes, and I see you just answered my question, Abby. I wasn't sure if you were able to see the chat while you were speaking. Yes, I just wanted to check what number we needed to stay below without tripping into a quorum. So 3 members or fewer. Thank you.
And the other
got
thing
that.
is that subcommittees cannot make decisions. So subcommittees can bring up, like, you know, if you're planning an event or something like that, you can talk about how you're going to get volunteers, but they don't, no decision is made without action of the CDA.
Good reminder. And I shall just default to reply to sender only if there's any emails going around. Very good.
Okay, any more questions, either to Mike or to Abby? Okay, well, if there are no more questions, we move on to the second part of the agenda, the financial report.
All right, let me get out of here. Sorry about that. So for the financial report, the only item that I wanted to flag for you all is that for, oops, let me get down there. Okay, so for the items that have kind of come up mid-year, for example, the Love Your Neighbor mural, which the CDA allocated $2,500 toward, and then the Stonehorse Green expenditures, $4,000 for the lighting, and then also the signage and the hand sanitizer stations. I have been coding all of those to miscellaneous expenses. And so if you saw this line being over the budgeted amount, that is why. But overall, the CDA has accepted more in revenue this year than we have had in expenditures to date. So overall, we're still in a good position to stay well within our budget. It's just that one line item, miscellaneous expenses, have been the items that have kind of come up mid-year. And I think that's the only thing I wanted to mention, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the financial report.
Abby, I have one question for everyone. How happy are you with the lighting downtown?
The lighting is starting to sag, and I wanted to talk about that in the Stonehorse Green agenda item. I am planning to, well, actually, I've already emailed PKK Lighting to see if they can go out and tighten the lighting up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I have gone there a couple of times. I didn't know what to expect, but I was just wondering whether we are getting benefit, what is the cost benefit, we are getting benefit from those lights or not. So any input from anyone? Have you gone there in the evenings when the lights are on?
Katie has her hand raised.
I just wanted to say that I just really love the effect. This is Katie. I just love the effect the lights have. I feel like it's our new like town square, and I think it's really going to help everybody's. I know this is silly, but I think it's going to help everybody's spirits as the nights get longer and COVID keeps going. We just need that little spark of light to hit our eyes to make ourselves feel okay. And it's just darling. I love seeing people eating down there, even in the chilly weather. So good job.
So Andrea, what do you, is it helping you or the other downtown people? What do you think?
I do think it's been a huge help. And
Andrea,
especially
wellness.
as Katie just said, with the weather, with it getting dark earlier, it was very helpful in extending the dining outdoors, and it was a great ambiance. It just felt lively and vibrant and very inviting. So we're very happy with it.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Abby related to the financial report? Okay, we
Hey, wait,
move
Abby,
on to
did you wanna
the
go over
item
the
number
second
3,
sheet?
update on strolling.
Abby, did you want to go over the second sheet, or was there anything you wanted to point out on that?
There wasn't anything I wanted to flag, but I'm happy to answer any questions you all have.
Okay. Everything's, okay.
So, Kathy, you had one of the items in the last time that you wanted something put in the senior center. Well, if
Well,
you want to,
That's not on this agenda right now, so we can hold on that. Abby, I think you did
Okay.
follow up with the
Okay.
library on that, so we have some information, so.
yeah, about that financial report if it has any financial impact. So anyway, we move on to item number 3, update on strolling Middleton.
I included in your packet the news release that Strollen is putting out, and you'll see that it took a little longer to get the recordings done, but they are really happy with the way that they are turning out so far. And they have a release date for each of them. And these are the first 4 dates here that you can see. The first one on the 22nd was recorded at Long Table. Thank you, Andrea, for hosting. And then they had one recorded at Sauk Trail Elementary School, which the school district has been promoting. So that's really cool because one of my son's music teacher, Mr. Becker, actually was involved in getting that one done. So they're coming up. They'll be streamed. We are gonna try to help a little bit with social media. The Art Lit Lab is gonna be tagging us in posts, and we'll share them where we can and try to get some buzz about it. Kari has her hand raised.
Oh, I can wait until you're done with the presentation.
That's all I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. I just was gonna ask whether DMBA or any of the other, or maybe Madison Wide are planning any like food and beverage takeouts to do like viewing parties or listening parties or anything for this. Because I did Andrea's, I did the last dinner, and it was so much fun. And my husband loved it, and I thought he was gonna hate it. And we really had a great time. So now I'm all about these things. Like I've done a cook and eat dinner together with brother and sister-in-law in Colorado since then. So now I'm like the big promoter of eating and drinking on Zoom. So late to the game, but
I love it. I love it.
but,
In fact,
but
we
I'm
have-
wondering if there's any plans to kind of amplify the message and get, piggyback a little bit.
Long Table definitely has plans to have some Zoom fun for the release of our 2
Cool.
dates. As far as DMBA, we haven't talked about it at a DMBA level though.
Okay.
I wonder, Julie Peterman is on here too. I'm not sure. I think she's still on. I wonder if there's a way to co-promote with the carryout activity that tourism is doing. And then
I
also,
just made that very note to myself, Abby.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so I will follow up with Mari and see if we can double up on some of the social media postings that we're doing. This will also be on our visit middleton.com website as well.
Excellent. I know Mike had sent one of the emails as well under notify me where there was some lunch and dinner promotion.
Yeah, I think the Middleton Times has a separate one from tourism, unless they're the same one. I'm not sure.
It's not, it's separate. The Middleton Times Tribune is called Middleton Takeout Takeover. It's a 2-week kind of like a restaurant week idea, but it goes for 2 weeks from November 28th through December 12th. So it does overlap with some of these dates as well.
I'll email Michelle Phillips and see if there's an opportunity for co-promoting there too.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. And we move on to 4, that is the update on Downtown Middleton Business Association activities, including marketing.
Andrea?
Okay,
Andrea?
I guess that's me. Yeah. I just wanted to start first
you.
with an update on, I wanted to start first with the update on just how things are going with the marketing coordinator position that you so generously helped us fund, hiring Sarah Soldat. I didn't give as much of an update last time, and it has been just a huge success to have her helping us. She's been with us now since July, I guess, and we have seen huge increases in our followings on social media, both Facebook and Instagram, just very regular posting and helping to create an identity of what we're trying to create for downtown Middleton in terms of our brand equity in essence. And that's in large part because she just has focused time to be able to do that. She did a great job coordinating with the Pick Your Picnic campaign and working across the businesses to get picnic basket items pulled together to do drawings, which was a hugely liked on social media. We got a ton of engagement on those social media posts and did a couple of giveaways. She was so successful in getting stuff done that we were able to do a second round of giveaways. So that went really well. And then she's been instrumental in just promoting out the story walk, helping get all the businesses going on the story walk for the October pilot, and now going into the upcoming round of story walk. The coordination has been very helpful there. And then she's also taken the lead of helping us put together our local love holiday, the offer collection that we have. We've landed on calling it Local Love. So it's the collection of offers donated from or offered from about 23 different businesses downtown, ranging from free food with the purchase of certain meals all the way up to one of the jewelry stores, I think, is doing $100 off a purchase of $350. So we have a very wide range of offers that the businesses have put together to encourage people to come downtown and support downtown Middleton businesses. The website and pre-sales will probably be going live, I think, next week. And we can send that link out when we're ready to fully promote it and publish it out. We'll have the press release and social media going, but Sarah's been doing an amazing job leading that, and there's no way we could have done any of that without her help. So thank you. We are starting to look ahead to our 2021 budget, and definitely want to be able to keep her engaged going forward. And so we're working through our own budgeting and maybe back in touch to see if there are opportunities to continue partnering with CDA.
Okay, any
Any
questions
questions
for
for us?
Andrea? So you're quite, how much time does she spend helping you, Andrea?
We have her budgeted for 25 hours a month, and she has been
okay.
able to stay pretty well on that. This past month, because we were wrapping up Story Walk, launching a new Story Walk, and pretty heavy into the graphic design on the Local Love, she went a little bit over, but because the Local Love will be generating some funding, we were able to have that help fund some of the hours. So we're still right on budget with where we thought we would be from the funding that CDA gave back in July. Right on track.
Excellent. Any questions for Andrea from the commission? Okay. All right. So thank you, Andrea. Great job.
Thank you.
We move to item number 5, which is the discussion of activity at Stonehorse Green, including Pick Your Picnic.
Yeah, so I talked to Andrea about this earlier today on the phone, and mainly I wanted to ask if the CDA would be okay now with removing the large Pick Your Picnic banner, and whether the CDA wanted to take down the smaller signage too. And I guess the question about the hand sanitizer stations, whether you want to continue paying to rent those, or if you think that because it's getting colder out, if we should do away with them. 2 people have their hand raised. I believe Oaks was first and then Furlong. Oh, and then Barker after Furlong.
Actually, Furlong was
Okay.
first.
Whoops, sorry.
Okay, well, all right, Skin and then Kari.
Okay, sure. Well, I think it's fine to take them down. I had stopped spraying the circles about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whatever. And then with the weather last week, I kind of felt bad, like I should have done it again. But where the lights are, anyway, the tables and the lights mean it doesn't make sense there. So I'm fine with you taking down the signs at this point. I think last week might have been the last chance for picnics anyway.
We'll save them for the fall or for the spring.
Thank you, Karen.
Hopefully we won't necessarily need them, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we should just plan for the eventuality that we may want to do this again when the weather, you know, picks up in the spring. But so let's hang on to everything on. I'll have the paint ready to go again in the spring too.
Kari was next.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, thanks. So I agree. And I actually like super regretfully would recommend that if everybody hasn't read Governor Evers' last executive order, they should do it and recognize that the last time we were all told to stay at home, we had dozens to 100 of cases in the county, and we just crossed 20,000 right now. And the I'll put the link to our metrics, but we are basically in uncontrolled growth of coronavirus cases in this county. Like everybody's reading the news, but we have a brisk outbreak in my personal census tract that includes the downtown and Stonehorse Green. We probably have had between 30 and 40 new cases in a population of 4,500 in the last week. And so I am very sad to say that I don't think we should be promoting any gathering right now, and we should try to support businesses by doing takeout and dining at home as much as we can. And whatever else we can do, but it's not safe right now.
Agree, Carrie.
Thank you, Kari. Anyone else who may want to?
Dan Barker.
Dan, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, agree with what's been said. So an answer and then a question. Yes, take down the banner. Yes, take down the hand sanitizer. My question is, are other businesses allowed to advertise on Stonehorse Green? I've seen the fitness place has a sign up there, and it doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem fair that one person is allowed to advertise there and others aren't.
Yeah, that sign, I've noticed it a couple times too, and it's really intended to be in the right of way. So it's a sandwich board sign. Those are allowed, I think, and permitted, but not on private property. And in this case, it's public property. So it's probably just a matter of reaching out to the exercise place and letting them know where they're able to put that sign.
It has to be adjacent to their property also.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that we talk to them about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I
It
saw
is
it too, and
very-
I just didn't know whether we were going to, how we were feeling about giving people an opportunity. But you're right,
Well-
you have to treat everybody fairly, so.
We
Absolutely.
enforce on a complaint basis, and we just got a complaint, so we'll take care of it.
Yeah, yeah. That's how it goes, isn't it? So thank you, Dan. Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions or comments? So Abby, I don't know if you had also intended that, the fundraising is getting started, or if
Mhm.
anybody wants to help with fundraising.
Yeah, that's actually why I wanted to take the Pick Your Picnic banner down, because we're printing a big banner showing the donor gallery wall for the Stonehorse Green, and we haven't promoted it yet at all, but we have already sold at least one tile. So the donor gallery wall is going to include historic images of Middleton, and we're allowing people to sponsor them for the cost of either $1,000 for a small square or $5,000 for a larger square. And we wanted to show people what the whole wall will look like to scale. And it's about 8 by 4, I think, which is this, or actually it's 9 wide by 4 tall in the design for the Stonehorse green, but we can get it pretty close to scale and have it out there for people to see the actual size. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. And then the other thing is that the lighting, so the strands of light are sagging, and I've contacted PKK Lighting to see if they will go out and tighten them up. And while they're out there, would they provide an opportunity for the DMBA to be able to plug in a tree, assuming that the Boyer family that owns the Village Green is okay with that additional electricity use. So far, they've been excellent to work with, but I also understand that now with them being closed, I don't know if they're going to continue to be as generous with the use of their electricity. So the DMBA was going to check with them and see, and if they got the yes, then we were going to make sure that PKK created an outlet for them to be able to plug in their tree to that same power source.
Oh, it's nice to ask.
Mike has his hand raised.
I did ask Ron Boyer, and he was completely fine with continuing the electricity use.
Oh yeah, I talked to him about that too, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
I talked to him about continuing on with the string lights, but I didn't talk to him about adding a Christmas tree or a holiday tree.
Okay, great. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, we need to raise at least 500,000 for the Stonehorse Green. Anybody, well, if you're an elected person, you can do it, or city employee, it has to be other than those, so. Okay, all right.
I can help with that,
Then-
right? There's no reason I can't. I'm planning on helping with that.
Yeah, elected officials are allowed to help. Is that correct, Mike?
Well, all of us have to be very careful of potential
Mike?
conflicts of interest. Can you not hear me?
We can.
All of us have to be careful with potential conflicts of interest. If it's somebody who typically does business with the city, you may not want to approach them, Kathy, because
Okay.
if the whole potential conflict with voting on something that comes before the council.
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
I was
All right.
hoping on just looking up grants and doing things like that, and hoping.
Oh, yeah,
that-
that
certainly
should
you
be
could do
fine.
that.
Yeah.
Kathy, I could pitch in and help
I
you a
would
little bit with
help
that
with that
too.
as well, so.
That'd be awesome.
And yeah,
Yes.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yes, I think Abby would be, well, everyone will be, this will make a difference. It will define our downtown, and we have been wanting to do it for a long time. I think it's about time that we did something. So, and the city council will see, I think at least in the budget, there's a 1 million TIF money, so we need to raise $500,000 to get this project done. Okay, discussion
Abby,
of
I
fountain-
got a quick question on when you put the board up with showing the plaques. Now, I thought we talked about you get to choose the picture that you get associated with your name. So the sooner you put your donation in, you get the first choice of the different pictures, correct? Is that going to be on the board at all, or?
I don't know. I don't think that the actual pictures are on the board.
Okay.
But we have the photos now. This is a sneak peek because this website's not live yet, but we have them on a website. It's the Stonehorse Green website is live, but the donor wall portion is not yet linked anywhere. So we're going to be selling opportunities for large tile photos, and you do get to pick which image you like. And these are formatted into the right size for what will actually show in the image. So we had to do a lot of cropping work because the Historical Society was kind enough to give us all of these, but only about 20 of them would work for the size. And then we have 20 small opportunities as well. And you get to pick the image.
I really like it when they have the old Middleton family names associated with the businesses. That would be, it'd be pretty cool for them to have their name on one of those plaques.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be, it looks amazing too. And like the design, it will be backlit behind the donor wall. So at night it will create some visual interest, and it's going to be right up against the sidewalk on Elmwood. So it's on the north side of the bandshell building. And I think it'll be really successful and really popular. Fingers
Very
crossed.
cool. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
I like Abby's excitement. Let's make it happen. So we are on to item number 6, discussion of fountain outside of Must Museum. And the fountain is owned by HGA, and Dan was very excited about it. So is it you taking it over, or Abby, is it Dan?
Dan,
heading
and
that
Dan
one?
took these pictures too for the packet. Thank you, Dan.
Yes. Dan, you're up.
Yeah, thanks. And we've got about 15 minutes left, so I'll try to be concise. I've had a lot of free time for walks now that I've been working home a lot, so I've noticed a lot of things. So this, before you go on, Abby, this slide here, the first one, you can see it's right in front of the Mustard Museum, and it's owned, the building, I assume the whole building is owned by a company called HGA, which has offices all over both coasts. And specifically, I found out a person named Manus McDevitt and another person named Svein Morner are both the owners, and I believe they are both out of Minneapolis. Anyway, I reached out to him and just asked him, I said, because the family walks by and we always think it's neat, and we're like, dang, it's really going to waste here. So I wanted to figure out what the story is, and he replied back that it's been a headache for him since 2014. Right now, it costs him about $1,000 a year just to run it, and you can scroll down now, Abby, to replace this brickwork just as is, and you can see it's just falling apart. It is anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. So he mentioned the woman that owns that operates the Mustard Museum now loves the fountain too. But unfortunately, it's not something they can spend a lot of money on right now. So I said, well, what are our options? Just ballparking things, and what can we do? And he said, well, he indicated he reached out to the city a while back, and there wasn't really any movement on that. But he said they don't want to put money into it, but he would be willing to, work with us. And I threw out an option of, well, what if we relocated it to maybe Iron or Stonehorse, sorry, the Stonehorse green spot, or if we moved it to, somewhere else temporarily. We're still looking at some money to do so, and maybe they could partner. He did say, well, we'd like something maybe to go in its spot, a bench or something. But I would just hate for us to be 5 years from now looking at this thing falling apart. So just throwing it out.
In terms of
Dan has great
incorporating
ideas. It really looks very nice.
I was going to say, just in terms of incorporating it into the Stonehorse green design, I think it would be very expensive because we would have to get plumbing to it. And also the site is pretty, the idea with the Stonehorse green was to have a very big green open space in the center so that it's really flexible space, but around the perimeter, it's pretty busy already. So I don't know if there would really be much of an opportunity without major design changes to the green to put it
Understood.
Fair but point. I agree with you because I like it too, and my kids like to throw money into it. Kieran has his hand raised.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, I think it could stay where it is, even if it was to become city property. I think it would behoove us to get our own quotes on what it would cost to get the brickwork. I mean, I'm not doubting, Dan, your statement. It's more, that was probably what the owner of Minneapolis had determined it would cost. Probably just would behoove us to see, okay, well, what would it cost to get it up and running? And then in terms of, let's be aware as well of the operating cost on an annual basis. You know, while it all looks pretty, we don't want to necessarily end up with a white elephant
Oh, for
on
sure.
on the CDA's books. But in principle, I think, look, it is becoming an eyesore. My family also loves to walk past it and look at the statues and stuff in there. So it would be great if we could get it up and running again. And I just think we need to maybe the motion here is to just have a study of what it would cost, one, to get it refurbished, and two, on an annual operating basis to keep it operational. And I would suggest we do that first of all for in its current situation. Basically, I think obviously moving it's only going to add to the costs, right?
I agree. I just want to get one point and agree with everything you said, Kieran. I did want to make a point of clarification. This is on private property. So
Okay.
I believe with it being on private property, that's going to impact what we can do as far as chipping in. I'm not sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Olson and Oaks both have their hands raised.
Okay, Olson and then Oaks.
Well, I know that I remember when they came forward last time to discuss this, and part of it was that the winterizing it in the winter, it takes quite a bit of work. And I don't know if that's something that they've been doing consistently, and it leads to some of the crumbling. And I don't know if we're worried about funding it, maintenance of it. I don't know how many pennies we could pull out of there, but I'd pay 2 cents for every wheat penny. I don't know. Yeah, is there any way the CDA could own that property if we were to take that on?
They would have to donate it to the city.
Yeah, they'd have to donate it. Well, it's either that or they're going to have to fix this, because I don't think we can allow, you can't let something like this just deteriorate away. I mean, if they own it, they have to do something with it, I think, before it's going to get dangerous. It's dangerous now for anybody to try to climb on that or anything, so.
One thing they could do would be to dedicate a public access easement, and that's what we did at Middleton Station, because there's a sculpture on private property that's owned by the city and maintained by the city. That's on a public access easement, so that maybe is an option.
Okay. I'm not interested in doing it unless if they own it, I think they have to maintain it. If the city owns it, that's a different story.
I agree with you. It's Kathy and Kari.
Oh, I just kind of along the same lines. Whenever I see a water feature, I always think about liability. And I don't know what it would mean if the city pitched in to repair something that was on private land and whose policy would govern. So I kind of agree that unless there were a way to create an ownership or easement for the city to support this, it shouldn't be there. And I mean, it's a cool thing, but I'm not sure it's completely architecturally consistent with the mid-century diner on the left and the kind of early 21st century redo of the building on the right. And my kids liked it too, and now my dog likes it, which some people probably think is gross, but I'm not sure it's like a defining feature of Middleton that would,
Right.
What? You don't think it's Baroque Italian at fountain?
It's Baroque. That's what it is right now.
I'm putting that in the minutes.
Do we have any big atriums crying out for a fountain somewhere?
Well, I would have to say, the fountain by itself looks very good. And I like art. So if we can somehow, and I like Dan's coming up with this idea. So if city has to spend money, it has to be somehow, we have to work out some relationship owned by the city, right? So we can look into it. Any other questions or comments?
Mike here.
Okay.
Just as
Update.
background, because I think you'd probably
Right.
appreciate the history behind this. And that is that the guy who developed the property with the city's assistance, he was an avid collector of art from Italy in particular, Mediterranean art. And this actually did come from Italy. So it is probably Baroque, like you said. And he ended up becoming Baroque himself.
Well, we paid a lot of tip money, so it's anyway. Let's not go there. But I think, yeah, it's a nice piece of art. So we'll probably need a better.
And we know that they wanted
Okay.
to
Any
give
other
it.
quick question or comments? Otherwise, we have to item number C to.
Mike, were you saying something, Mike?
Well, like Kathy, you mentioned a few years ago, they wanted to give it away, and I'm sure they still do want to give it away. So if they did want to give it away and the city wanted to take it with the responsibility, like you guys said, it would have to either be, a fee simple or an easement.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Abby got plenty of input here. Now we are on to item number 7, update on Love Your Neighbor mural. It's up and people can see it. Looks nice. Abby, anyone else? What do you want to say? Update on Love Your Neighbor mural.
Just wanted to let you know it's done.
Anybody?
And
Okay.
And it looks great. Thank you very much. It looks, it's well executed, and I like seeing it every time I walk by.
Yeah, I love it. It turned out so nice.
it looks like Kieran has a comment to make.
Okay.
Yes, and it looks like we're going to get under the. I'll keep it short, so we end at before time even. Yes, can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first comment was, as a personal comment, I wanted to commend Mike Davis, the city clerk, Lori, and everyone else who was involved in the election. I think too often people only get noticed doing that job when things go wrong. And the fact that it went so smoothly, and according to Mike, your last email, that 90% of our our citizens were able to vote. I wanted to just commend you and the staff on getting that done. And this is a nonpartisan comment. It's just like, listen, executing the election under these circumstances was really, really well done. So I wanted to offer that as a resident and citizen, as a personal comment. But if anyone else wants to pile in with me, I'd be happy to make it a committee comment too.
This is
Thank you,
Barker.
Kieran.
I agree. Yep.
Okay.
And I even saw the mayor walking around too. Great job. Agreed.
Thank you, Dan. So.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you need a motion on that or anything else, but to make it, if you like, a committee recognition, but well done, Mike and everyone else. It was really, really good. The second thing I wanted to raise was just, some of you might be familiar with Chuck Marone and Strong Towns. So he's kind of a talking head on urban development and how we manage our cities and so on here in the US. He is speaking next week at an event called Urban Futures at University of Wisconsin. Well, virtually, everything's virtual these days. And Abby, I was going to how do I get that information out to members of the committee should they be interested?
Just email it to me and I'll distribute it to everyone.
Very good. That's what I will do then. So he does this podcast called Strong Towns. He's written a book. If you're not familiar with him, I think he speaks a lot of sense about how we develop, manage, and plan for our cities. So I think that would be useful. And it's part of a speaker series called Urban Futures, where there's other speakers who many of the members of this committee may find interesting. So that was my second comment, and now I'm finished. Thank you.
Kieran, what was his first name? What was his first name?
Chuck Marone.
Chuck, okay.
Yeah, Strong Towns.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Anyone else? So this
Abby,
includes.
this is Katie.
Okay.
Abby, I'm so sorry. I thought that was great information, but are those examples of things that should be on the agenda or no?
I would say yes.
Ah,
Those are public meeting violations. Okay, sorry.
I
okay,
mean,
well,
they're kind of just more updates, but I
Yeah.
would say that technically, yeah, the committee just had a discussion about two things that were not listed on the agenda.
Oops.
okay.
so
And I was
here-
trying
so I have
to
a question.
notify as opposed to have a discussion. Point taken, Katie. I was trying to
Sorry.
stay
No,
on the
I'm
right
not
side of the line.
that lady.
Isn't there a mechanism for new business to be raised within an agenda without noticing exactly what the items are?
I'll defer to Mike on that question.
Or
My understanding is that our city attorney advises against including that on any agendas. Is that
including
correct,
new
Mike?
business?
New business, yeah, he doesn't like new business to be noticed on agendas. Mike, are you still on the call?
I
Yes.
noticed it's moving its head. I think.
Yes, I am. And yeah, you could have, if you wanted to, an agenda item that said future business, future agenda items, and then add stuff to future agendas. But you really shouldn't have motions on anything that's not on the agenda.
But there were no motions here. It was just
Yeah,
information.
right. Some simple information is really not an issue unless there's a prolonged discussion leading
Right.
to some business.
So this was okay, basically.
I think
So
so.
I'm back inside the lines again. Okay, good.
I don't see a problem with it. But if you had new business as an agenda item, that would not be specific enough to conduct any kind of business.
Okay,
Fair enough.
thank you.
You could have,
And-
if you wanted to, just updates at the end of the agenda, but nothing that you would actually take action on.
Excellent,
you.
Mike.
Okay.
Any other
And-
questions or comments?
well,
I can tell.
I just wanted to make sure Katie knows I really appreciate her calling that, because I was trying to make sure, after having listened to Abby, that I was staying on the right side. So thank you, Katie, for doing that.
Thank
I
you
think
for
we're all
keeping me awake to make me,
and we're all a little clearer now on how we should do these things for the future.
I'll be the
Thanks as
border
well.
collie.
Thank you. Any other comments? I can tell you that a lot of people have seen this mural, Love Your Neighbor, including our neighboring towns. And they are very pleased with this sign, and they let me know that they saw this mural. And we're not going to say more about it. So both the town of Springfield and town of Middleton, they have let me know about the mural. That it looks very good. Any
you guys
other
gonna get
questions
one?
or comments?
Okay, I'm conscious
Okay,
it's
no-
time. It's 6:30, and I want to make sure we're respectful
gets
for
more meeting.
Abby. So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? So motion unanimously adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, thank you.